I gifted my parents a $4 million mansion, then my brother moved his entire family in and kicked them out. So I showed up with the deed and had them all arrested for trespassing. I'd love for you to be part of this family. Subscribe and tell me where you're watching from. I promise your comment doesn't go unseen. I still remember my mama's face when I handed her that manila envelope. December 2023, cold as hell in Atlanta, but her smile could have melted ice. Inside were the keys and deed to a $4 million mansion in Buckhead. My tech startup had just gone public, and after 20 years of watching my parents struggle in that cramped 2-bedroom in Southwest Atlanta, I finally had the power to change their lives. Felicia, baby, what is this? Mama's hands trembled as she pulled out the glossy photos. Your new home, Mama. 6 bedrooms, pool, the works. No more roaches. No more broken AC. No more. Daddy broke down right there in the kitchen. 58 years old, worked 3 jobs most of my childhood, and he just sobbed into his calloused hands. My baby girl did this. My baby girl. My brother Marcus showed up an hour later. 35, still living in Mama's basement with his wife Laura and their 3 kids. He took one look at those photos and his jaw clenched. I should have seen it then, that flash of something dark behind his eyes. That's real nice, Felicia, he said, voice flat. Real nice how you can just throw money around. Marcus, Mama started. No, it's cool. Some of us actually stayed and helped out instead of running off to Silicon Valley. He grabbed a beer from the fridge. But yeah, congratulations on being the favorite. I ignored the jab. This was Mama and Daddy's day. I'd worked too damn hard to let Marcus's jealousy ruin it. 3 months later, I'd learned that was my first mistake. March 2024. Moving day was supposed to be perfect. I'd hired professional movers, arranged everything. The mansion sat on 2 acres, white columns gleaming in the Georgia sun like something out of a magazine. Mama cried happy tears walking through rooms bigger than her entire old house. 6 bathrooms, Lawrence, she kept saying to Daddy. 6 whole bathrooms. Marcus arrived with Laura and the kids, Jeffrey, Imani, and little Jaden. Laura was 8 months pregnant with their 4th, Belly leading the way as she surveyed the house with calculating eyes I should have paid more attention to. Y'all got all this space, Laura said, running her fingers along the marble kitchen counter. Must be nice not having to worry about money. We earned this, Daddy said quietly, but there was warning in his voice. That night, I flew back to San Francisco for a board meeting. Kissed my parents goodbye in their new master bedroom, California king bed already set up, view of the backyard pool through French doors. Thank you, baby, Mama whispered. You didn't have to do this. You gave me everything. This is nothing. 2 weeks later, my phone rang at 3 a.m. Mama's voice was shaking. Felicia, baby, I don't know how to say this. She took a ragged breath. Marcus moved his family in yesterday. Into the guest wing. Said since it's family property, he has a right to be here. I sat straight up in bed. What? Mama, I gave that house to you and Daddy. Just you two. I know, baby, but he showed up with all their stuff. Laura's about to have the baby. What were we supposed to do, turn them away? Everything in me screamed this was wrong. Mama, this is going to be a problem. I had no idea how right I was. I flew home that weekend. The moment I walked through the door, I knew something had shifted. Marcus sat in the living room like he owned the place, feet up on Mama's new coffee table, beer in hand despite it being 10 a.m. Well, the benefactor returns, he smirked. We need to talk. Kitchen. Now. Mama looked exhausted, bags under her eyes I'd never seen before. Daddy wouldn't meet my gaze. In the kitchen away from Marcus, the truth spilled out. He's taking over, Felicia, Daddy said, voice cracking. Change the Wi-Fi password. Said since we're old, We don't need to be wasting bandwidth. His kids are running wild, broke your mama's favorite vase yesterday. When I said something, he told me to relax, it's just stuff. My blood went cold. And Laura? Mama's hands twisted together. She's difficult. Wants me to cook for everyone, watch the kids while she rests. I don't mind helping with the baby coming, but yesterday she told me this house was too big for just us anyway. Said we should be grateful Marcus is here to help us manage it. Help you manage the house I bought you? My voice rose. Mama, tell them to leave. He's my son, Felicia. And that baby's coming any day now. We can't just. Yes, you can. This is your house. But I saw it in her eyes. The guilt. The obligation. The same thing that had let Marcus walk all over them his whole life while I'd been the one who left, who abandoned them for college, for success. Marcus appeared in the doorway, Laura beside him, her hand on that pregnant belly like a shield. Problem, little sister? Yeah. Big one. You're a guest here, Marcus. Start acting like it. He laughed. Guest? This is family property. You can't just buy love, Felicia. Some of us were here doing the real work while you were gone. April 2024. 3 weeks passed. I called every other day and each time Mama's voice sounded smaller. Laura had the baby, another boy, Marcus Jr. The guest wing became a fortress. Then Marcus started bringing his friends over. Felicia, they're here till 2-3 in the morning. Daddy told me, whispering like he was afraid to be overheard in his own house. Music loud, drinking, smoking on the back porch. When I asked them to keep it down, Marcus said if I didn't like it, maybe I was too old to handle a house this size. That's it. I'm coming home. I'm kicking him out. Baby, wait. But Mama's scream cut through the phone. Background chaos, shouting, crying, things breaking. I gotta go, Felicia. The line went dead. I called back 17 times. Nothing. Finally, at 11 p.m. West Coast time, Daddy called from a neighbor's phone. They changed the locks. 3 words that made my world stop. What? Marcus changed the locks. Said, Daddy's voice broke. Said this house was wasted on us. That we're too old to appreciate it. He threw our things on the lawn, Felicia. Your mama's clothes. My tools. Family photos. Just threw them out like garbage. I could hear Mama crying in the background, that deep, soul-hurt crying that makes your chest cave in. Where are you now? The Johnsons next door let us in. Marcus is in there with Laura and their friends having a damn party. Police came but said it's a civil matter, family dispute. They can't do nothing. Daddy, listen to me. My hands shook so hard I could barely hold the phone. I'm getting on the first flight out. Don't you worry. I'm gonna fix this. How, baby? I bought that house. My name is on every document. Marcus just made the biggest mistake of his life. 5 a.m. I landed in Atlanta. Didn't go home. Went straight to my lawyer's office. Gerald Morrison, the best real estate attorney in Georgia, met me despite the ungodly hour because I'd made him very rich with previous deals. Let me get this straight, Gerald said, spreading documents across his mahogany desk. You purchased this property in your name, then gifted lifetime residency to your parents. Nowhere does your brother have any legal claim. Nowhere. I made sure of that. And he's locked your parents out of a house they have legal right to occupy while he has none? Gerald's eyes lit up like a kid on Christmas. Felicia, this is the easiest case I've handled all year. This is criminal trespassing, elder abuse, and possibly fraud if he's been claiming any rights to the property. We spent 3 hours building an airtight case. I pulled bank records showing every payment came from my accounts. Pulled the original deed. Pulled my parents' residency agreement. By 10 a.m. we had enough ammunition to bury Marcus. What do you want to do? Gerald asked. I want them arrested. All of them. Marcus, Laura, and anyone else in that house illegally. Even with the children there? I thought of Mama crying, Daddy's broken voice, their clothes thrown on the lawn like garbage. The children will go wherever CPS determines is safe. But Marcus and Laura are done. Gerald made a call to his friend at the district attorney's office. Another to a judge he'd known for 20 years. By noon we had warrants. One more thing, I said. I want to be there when it happens. I want him to see my face when he realizes he fucked with the wrong one. Gerald grinned. Vindictive. I like it. Not vindictive. Justice. There's a difference. We set it for 4 p.m. Enough time to coordinate with police. Enough time for me to pick up my parents and prepare them. I found Mama and Daddy at a budget motel on Campbellton Road. The same area where we'd lived in poverty while I was growing up, while Marcus drained their resources with his constant schemes and failures. The irony wasn't lost on me. Mama answered the door in clothes I didn't recognize, probably borrowed. Her eyes were swollen from crying. Felicia, baby. I pulled her into my arms. It's over, Mama. Get dressed. Both of you. Nice clothes. We're taking back what's yours. Honey, we can't just, Daddy started. Yes, we can. I'm the owner, remember? Marcus has no legal right to that property. None. And in about 4 hours he's going to learn that the hard way. I showed them the paperwork. The warrants. Daddy's face transformed from defeat to something I'd rarely seen. Hope mixed with righteous anger. He really did this, Daddy whispered. My own son. Your son has been a parasite for 35 years, I said, and Mama flinched but didn't argue. Today that ends. We drove to the house at 3:45 p.m. 3 police cars were already there, parked discreetly down the street. Gerald's BMW sat behind them. I'd also called Uncle Ramon, Daddy's brother, 6'4", former Marine, and my cousin Belinda, who'd brought her husband Devin. I wanted witnesses. Family witnesses who could testify to what they saw. You ready? Asked my parents. Mama grabbed my hand. What if he fights back? What if? Then he gets more charges added. Mama, this man threw you out of your own home. Stop protecting him. She nodded slowly. Through the gates, which Marcus had actually had the audacity to lock, I could see movement. Music thumped from inside. They were having another party on a Tuesday afternoon. Gerald checked his watch. 4 p.m. Let's do this. The police moved first, bolt cutters making quick work of the gate Marcus had installed. Then we walked up that long driveway, an army of justice and business casual. I rang the doorbell using the code I'd programmed months ago. The one Marcus didn't know about. The door clicked open and the look on his face when he saw us, police included, was something I'd remember forever. What the, Felicia, what are you doing? Taking back my house. I stepped inside, Gerald and the officers right behind me. Officer Torres here has warrants for your arrest. And Laura's. For criminal trespassing, theft, and elder abuse. Marcus's face went from confused to furious. Elder abuse? I didn't. You locked 2 60-year-olds out of their legal residence and threw their belongings on the lawn, Gerald said smoothly. That's textbook elder abuse in Georgia. Also, this house belongs to Ms. Felicia Patterson. Not you. Never you. You have no legal claim to this property whatsoever. Laura appeared from the kitchen, baby on her hip, panic in her eyes. Marcus, what's happening? What's happening, Officer Torres said, is you're both under arrest. Kids need to be with a guardian. Is there anyone who can? I'll take them, Mama said quietly. Despite everything, she stepped forward. They're my grandchildren. They didn't do nothing wrong. Marcus's friends scattered like roaches when lights come on. Within minutes, the house cleared except for family, police, and Gerald's team documenting everything for the lawsuit that would follow the criminal charges. "You can't do this," Marcus snarled as Officer Torres cuffed him. "This is family business. You're really gonna have your own brother arrested? You really threw your own parents out?" I shot back. "On the lawn? Like trash. They didn't need all this space. I got 4 kids. And whose fault is that? Who bought this house, Marcus? Who worked their ass off while you coasted?" My voice rose, months of fury finally breaking free. "You've been jealous since the day I succeeded, and instead of being happy for Mama and Daddy, you decided to take what wasn't yours. Well, guess what? Actions have consequences." They took Marcus and Laura away in separate cars. The kids cried, confused, and Mama comforted them while Daddy just stared at the space where his son had stood minutes before. "Did I do the right thing?" Daddy asked me, voice hollow. "You didn't do anything." "I did. And yes, it was right." Uncle Ramon clapped me on the shoulder. "About damn time somebody stood up to that boy. Been bleeding y'all dry since he was 16. We spent the next 3 hours changing locks, resetting security codes, and documenting the damage. Marcus had trashed the place. Cigarette burns on the hardwood floors I'd paid extra for. Wine stains on the white carpet. The master bedroom, and my parents' bedroom, reeked of weed and had clothes everywhere. They'd literally kicked my parents out of their own room. "Jesus," Belinda whispered, filming everything on her phone for evidence. "He really thought he was gonna get away with this?" Gerald was documenting financial damages. "The property damage alone is about $40,000. Then there's the emotional distress, the temporary housing costs your parents incurred, legal fees. Felicia, you could sue him for everything." "I will. But first I want to make sure he does real time." That night, with the house cleaned and secured, I sat with my parents in their reclaimed master bedroom. Mama held my hand tight. "I'm sorry, baby. I should have stopped him sooner." "No, Mama. You were trying to be a good mother. He took advantage of that. That's on him, not you." Daddy spoke for the first time in hours. "What happens now?" "Now, Marcus sits in jail until his arraignment. They'll probably make bail, but they're banned from this property. I'm filing a restraining order tomorrow. And then we let the courts handle it." "What about the kids?" Mama's voice cracked. "They'll stay with you while this gets sorted. But Mama, you need to understand, Marcus brought this on himself. You didn't fail him. He failed you." The arraignment was a circus. Marcus showed up in an orange jumpsuit, looking rough after 3 days in county. His public defender looked like he'd rather be anywhere else. Laura sat separate, her lawyer already trying to distance her from Marcus's actions. The prosecutor, a sharp woman named Diane Carter, laid out the case with surgical precision. Security footage from the neighbors' cameras showing Marcus throwing my parents' belongings out. Text messages where he'd told friends he was taking over the old folks' mansion. Bank statements showing he'd tried to open credit cards using the property as collateral. "Your Honor," Diane said, "this isn't a family dispute. This is calculated fraud and abuse." Marcus's lawyer tried. "Your Honor, my client was under the impression." "Under the impression of what?" Judge Richardson cut in. "That he could commit grand theft and elder abuse? The deed is clear. Miss Patterson owns the property. She granted residency to her parents. Mr. Marcus Patterson has zero legal claim. And his actions, locking elderly parents out of their home, destroying property, attempting financial fraud, show premeditation and malice." I watched Marcus's face crumble as reality hit. He'd really thought he'd get away with it. Thought because we were family there'd be no consequences. He'd spent his whole life skating by on Mama's guilt and Daddy's exhaustion. Not anymore. Bail was set at $50,000. Marcus didn't have it. Laura's family scraped together her bail, and she was released with an ankle monitor and strict orders to stay away from the property. Marcus stayed locked up. After the hearing, Laura approached us in the courthouse hallway. "Mrs. Patterson, please. Talk to Felicia. Marcus made mistakes, but the kids need their father. Don't do this." Mama looked at her, really looked at her. The kids needed their grandmother to have a safe place to live. You stood by while Marcus threw us out. Don't talk to me about needs. I'd never been more proud of my mother. 2 weeks after the arrest, I was going through boxes of stuff we'd recovered from the house. That's when I found it. A folder Marcus had hidden in what he'd claimed as his office. Inside were documents that made my blood run cold. Forged quitclaim deeds with my parents' signatures. Applications for home equity lines of credit. Contact information for real estate agents with notes like, get appraisal, flip by summer, split 60/40ths. He hadn't just been squatting. He'd been planning to steal the house entirely, forge documents to transfer ownership, take out loans against it and sell it out from under our parents. Probably would have left them homeless while he pocketed millions. "Gerald, you need to see this." I called him immediately. An hour later, he was in my hotel room, examining the documents with growing fury. This is a whole new level of fraud. Federal charges territory. This isn't just trespassing anymore, Felicia. This is attempted grand larceny, identity theft, fraud, conspiracy. Your brother was going to prison anyway, but now? He's looking at 5 to 10 years minimum. I should have felt satisfied. Dad, I felt sick. This was my brother. We'd shared a bedroom until I was 12. He taught me to ride a bike. And somewhere along the way, he'd become this person who'd destroy our parents for money. What turned him into this? I asked Mama that night. She was quiet for a long time. Then, I think he never forgave you for leaving. For succeeding. Marcus always took the easy road, and when life got hard, he blamed everyone else. Your daddy and I enabled it, making excuses, giving him money we didn't have. We created this monster, Felicia. Not you. He made his choices, Mama. I know. But I still mourn the boy he was. The one who's gone now. I understood. You can be right and still grieve what's lost. September 2024. 5 months after the arrest. The trial was everything the media could want. Wealthy tech executive versus her con artist brother, family drama. A mansion worth millions. Court TV asked to broadcast it. I said no. Some things should stay private. The prosecution's case was devastating. They brought in forensic accountants who'd traced Marcus's plans back 18 months. He'd started scheming before I even bought the house. Probably overheard Mama and I discussing it on the phone. Mr. Patterson researched property values, contacted lawyers about elder coercion, and created fake documents, the prosecutor explained to the jury. This wasn't opportunistic. This was premeditated theft on a massive scale. Marcus's defense tried painting him as a desperate father who'd made mistakes. My client was trying to provide for his family. His sister had money to spare. So he committed multiple felonies. The prosecutor shot back. Locked 2 senior citizens out of their legal residence? Attempted to forge their signatures on documents worth millions? Where's the desperation that justifies that? I testified for 4 hours. Walked the jury through buying the house, my parents' joy, Marcus's immediate resentment. Showed them text he'd sent me. Must be nice to play God with your money. Some of us have real responsibilities. You bought their love and you know it. How did you feel reading these? The prosecutor asked. Hurt. Confused. My parents raised us to support each other. I thought giving them the house would make our whole family happy. Instead, it revealed who my brother really was. On cross-examination, Marcus's lawyer tried to rattle me. Isn't it true you held your wealth over your family? Made them feel inferior? No. I worked hard, got lucky, and wanted to share that luck with the people who sacrificed for me. My parents. Not my grown brother who never contributed. You admit you excluded him. I gave my parents a gift. Marcus excluded himself by trying to steal it. The jury deliberated for 6 hours. When they came back, Marcus looked gray. Laura sat in the gallery holding the baby, crying silently. On the count of criminal trespassing, how do you find? Guilty. On the count of elder abuse, how do you find? Guilty. On the count of attempted fraud, how do you find? Guilty. All 15 charges. Guilty on every single one. Sentencing came 2 weeks later. Judge Richardson didn't hold back. Mr. Patterson, you victimized the people who gave you life. You exploited your sister's generosity and your parents' love. You showed no remorse, only entitlement. I sentence you to 8 years in federal prison followed by 5 years probation. You're also ordered to pay restitution in the amount of $473,000 to your parents and sister for damages, legal fees, and emotional distress. Marcus finally broke. Mama, please. Don't let them do this. I'm your son. Tell them. Mama stood up. Her voice rang clear through the courtroom. You stopped being my son when you threw me out of my home. You're your own person, Marcus, and you made your choices. Now you live with them. He crumpled. Deputies took him away, and for the first time in months I felt like I could breathe. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarmed. I gave one statement. Family doesn't mean accepting abuse. It means loving people enough to hold them accountable. That's what I did today. Laura avoided us, rushing to her car with the kids. She'd taken a plea deal. 2 years probation, community service, mandatory parenting classes. Her lawyer had convinced the DA she'd been manipulated by Marcus. Maybe she had been. Maybe they'd been equally guilty. Either way, she'd lost her meal ticket. That night, Mama, Daddy, and I had dinner in their reclaimed dining room. Real family. The 3 of us. Was it worth it? Daddy asked. All this pain. Yes. Because now you're safe. And Marcus can't hurt anyone else. December 2024. 1 year since I'd handed Mama that envelope. The house looked different now, felt different. Mama had planted roses in the garden. Daddy built a workshop in the garage. They'd invited the neighbors over for Thanksgiving, started a book club, become part of the community I'd hoped they'd find. Marcus called collect from prison once. I accepted the charges. I'm sorry, he said. No preamble. I fucked up. I know that now. I was jealous, angry, stupid. I threw away my family for money I couldn't even have. Laura divorced me, the kids don't know me. I lost everything. You didn't lose everything, Marcus. You threw it away. Big difference. Silence. Then, you think Mama will ever forgive me? Maybe. In 20 years when you're a different person. But that's on you now. You gotta do the work. Will we ever be okay? I looked out my window at the San Francisco skyline, thought about the little girl who'd shared a room with her big brother, who'd looked up to him once upon a time. I don't know. Trust takes years to build and seconds to destroy. You destroyed all of it. Whether we rebuild anything is up to you and who you become. Not who you were. We hung up. Maybe he'd change. Probably he wouldn't. Either way, it wasn't my problem anymore. On Christmas Eve, Mama, Daddy, and I decorated their massive tree in the living room. Daddy played his old jazz records. Mama made her famous peach cobbler. We didn't talk about Marcus, the trial, any of it. We just existed in the peace we'd fought for. Thank you, baby. Mama said as we hung the last ornament. For fighting for us. For not letting him win. You raised me to stand up for what's right, Mama. Even when it's hard. Especially when it's family. Later, alone on the back patio, I watched snow. Rare for Atlanta. Dust the pool cover. My phone buzzed. Email from my company. Stock prices up again. Another successful quarter. But that's not what made me smile. What made me smile was knowing Mama and Daddy were safe, warm, in a home nobody could take from them ever again. That was success. That was worth fighting for. Family isn't who shares your blood. It's who shows up when things get hard. Who loves you without condition. Who deserves your loyalty because they've earned it. Marcus taught me that the hard way. And I made sure he paid the price for the lesson.